Welcome back, Goodra!
Pokemon Ranger! I choose you!
What's up, my boys and girls? It's your Ranger Boy here, and welcome to another review of the Pokemon X, Y, and Z anime. Today, we are celebrating several comebacks with episode 30, Find Carbink, Goodra, and Dedenne. First of all, I don't really know what to say about this episode, since on the one hand, it was really cool to see Goodra and the other characters, which I will mention later, back again, but on the other hand, I'm also kinda disappointed about the episode itself, and I will explain why. So without any hesitation, let's get right into the review! Our today's event begins with some wild Carbink searching for their untamable friend who's hiding from them. Man, that beginning really reminds me of the Dedenne movie. Good movie, by the way. After successfully escaping from its friends, that Carbink suddenly got hit by Dedenne, and even though Bonnie is very friendly towards this Pokemon, it still is scared by Bonnie and escapes. Oh yeah, before I will go on with the review, I want to mention that the X, Y, and Z opening got a little update, but Zygarde and Bonnie are still the main focus of this opening. Moving on, now we are seeing our friends once again visiting the wasteland to meet up with their old friend Goodra, and I gotta admit, I had some tears in my eyes when Ash finally met Goodra again. I thought this scene was really adorable. And after that lovely moment, Goodra also finally meets not only his old companions but also Goodra's successor Numelgon as well. And everything seems to be happy and peacefully, until other Pokemon from the wasteland got terrorized by that one wild Carbink, and nobody seems able to tame that little Pokemon, not even his fellow companions. So while Ash and the others are now searching for Carbink, meanwhile Team Rocket is spying on this little Pokemon, and especially Jessie seems to be really interested in that Pokemon, since she, and I think almost every woman, loves diamonds. So without any hesitation, they are building a robot to capture it. You know, just like always. While Carbink is fooling Florges, the ruler of the wastelands, not once, not twice, but 3 times, until they are finally able to catch it. But not only this Carbink seems to be trapped, but also its friends, since they encountered Team Rocket earlier in this episode and they immediately got captured by them. And Dedenne, who was searching for Carbink as well, is trying to free them. But it seems to be not only a useless attempt, but also got dragged Team Rocket's attention to Dedenne, and in the end it's like always, Team Rocket got a huge robot, our heroes are saving the other Carbinks with the help of Goodra, and in the end everything is okay. And yes, Goodra is not Ash's 6th Pokemon. Thankfully, that is not the end of the episode. Remember when I mentioned several comebacks? Because now we are getting a look at Alain and his last gym battle for his 8th gym badge against Korrina! Yay! Awesome! And it's obvious that Alain absolutely destroys Mega Lucario, and after receiving his last badge, Korrina asks him if he will enter the Colors League, and he states that he is looking forward to it, since there will be strong opponents, and of course he has Ash in mind as well. And this is the end of the episode. Whoa, I have to say this episode was kinda tiring, except for the end, which was an awesome foreshadowing. So that's why let's get straight into the rating. What can I say about the story? I have to say the ending was awesome. I loved the foreshadowing with Alain and the cameo of Korrina, and I just loved how they showed how strong Alain actually is, because he could easily defeat Korrina and he is definitely a candidate for Colors League winner. Of course, my bets are all on Ash, but I'm glad that Alain will be there as well. But the rest of the episode was so tiring to watch and to review. The plot was really boring, the wild Carbink's motivation and character wasn't that unique, and like I mentioned earlier, it really reminded me of a Dedenne movie, which, again, was a good movie when it comes to the character of Carbink. So it really wasn't anything special, and also like always Team Rocket was just so tiring. In my opinion, this would have been a typical filler if it wasn't for the end with Alain and Korrina and Goodra. And speaking of Goodra, I'm kinda disappointed that it's not Ash's 6th Pokemon, but at the same time I'm glad that it's not his 6th Pokemon, because since XY, Ash really is carefully choosing his team for the Colors League. And with one spot still open, there are still possibilities for comebacks like Infernape, Charizard, etc. So who knows? But in the end, all this doesn't really save the overall boring plot of today's episode, so that's why a 6 out of 10. What can I say about the focus? I have to say the focus today was by far the worst focus I ever have seen. Why? Because the first part is find Carbink. Those 2 words describes the whole plot of the whole episode. which in my opinion is horrible for a focus. Absolutely horrible. And the second part, Goodra and Dedenne, had nearly nothing to do with the episode and barely was even there. There was no bonding between Goodra and Dedenne besides the beginning and the end. And in my opinion, the focus was like 80 till 90% on finding carving. So in the end, I can say the focus was absolutely horrible, the worst I have ever seen. 4 out of 10. What can I say about the animation? The animation, no critical moments, some good animations, for example, of course, the short, very short Alain vs Korrina battle. I also like the animation when, at the end, the rest of the gang, together with Goodra's group, was in that cave. I just really loved the shadowing and the lightning, but in the end, there was nothing special at all, so that's why 5 out of 10. So this episode scores a 5 out of 10, and I can't believe that this episode, it's actually not a filler. Because there's Alain, there's Korrina, there's Goodra, so you can't really call it a filler because it somehow involves the main plot of the anime. But in the end, it's horrible, absolutely horrible. Every other filler I have ever seen in the XY and Z anime was way better when it comes to the plot than this today's episode. It was just horrible, it was tiring. I know that my disappointment is really based on the last episodes, which all were non-filler and which all were really amazing. So maybe that's why I'm really disappointed at this episode. But in the end, this still doesn't change the fact that this episode really was horrible. Just horrible. My advice, just skip to the end when Alain fight Korrina. That's like the only good part in today's episode. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed my review like always, and see you guys in the comment section down below. Bye!